Digestion is the process by which food is broken down into smaller components that can be absorbed and used by the body. It is a complex process that involves several organs and enzymatic reactions. Digestion begins in the mouth, where food is mechanically broken down by chewing and mixed with saliva, which contains enzymes that begin to break down carbohydrates. The food then travels through the esophagus and into the stomach, where it is mixed with gastric juices that contain enzymes and hydrochloric acid. These juices help break down proteins and other macromolecules. From the stomach, the partially digested food enters the small intestine, where most of the absorption of nutrients takes place. The small intestine is lined with finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area for absorption. Enzymes from the pancreas and bile from the liver also enter the small intestine to help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. The remaining undigested material moves into the large intestine, where water is absorbed and feces are formed. The feces are then eliminated through the rectum and anus. The human digestive system is a complex series of organs and structures that work together to break down food and absorb nutrients. Here is a detailed description of the various parts of the digestive system. Mouth. The mouth is the beginning of the digestive system, where food is ingested and mechanically broken down by chewing. The teeth help to break down food into smaller pieces, while the tongue moves the food around in the mouth and mixes it with saliva. Saliva contains an enzyme called amylase, which begins to break down carbohydrates. Esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. It propels food downward to the stomach using a series of muscular contractions called peristalsis. The esophagus is lined with mucus to protect it from stomach acid. Stomach. The stomach is a muscular sac that receives food from the esophagus and mixes it with gastric juices, which contain enzymes and hydrochloric acid. The enzymes help break down proteins and other macromolecules in the food, while the hydrochloric acid creates an acidic environment that further aids in digestion. The stomach also churns the food to break it down into smaller pieces, and it releases the partially digested food into the small intestine in small batches. Small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the digestive system and is where most of the absorption of nutrients takes place. The walls of the small intestine are lined with tiny finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area for absorption. Enzymes from the pancreas and bile from the liver also enter the small intestine to help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream through the villi and transported to the liver. Pancreas. The pancreas is a glandular organ located behind the stomach that produces digestive enzymes and hormones that regulate blood sugar levels. The enzymes are released into the small intestine to help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Liver. The liver is the largest gland in the body and is responsible for producing bile, which helps break down fats in the small intestine. The liver also filters toxins from the blood and metabolizes nutrients. Gallbladder. The gallbladder is a small, pear-shaped organ that stores and releases bile into the small intestine when needed to aid in the digestion of fats. Large intestine. The large intestine is the final part of the digestive system, where water is absorbed and feces are formed. The large intestine is divided into 4 parts: the scum, colon, rectum, and anal canal. The colon absorbs water and electrolytes from the remaining undigested food and forms feces, which are stored in the rectum until they are eliminated from the body. Rectum. The rectum is the last part of the large intestine, where feces are stored before elimination. The rectum has stretch receptors that signal to the brain when it is time to defecate. Anus. The anus is the opening through which feces are eliminated from the body. The muscles surrounding the anus can voluntarily relax or contract to control the release of feces.